Keir Starmer's Labour Party has just triggered a political firestorm, and not for the first time. In what critics are calling a blatant attempt at electoral manipulation, Labour has unveiled its most radical plan to reshape Britain's democracy in over 50 years by giving 16-year-olds the right to vote. Yes, you heard that right. Teenagers who aren't even old enough to legally buy a pint will now get a say in who runs the country. And while Angela Rayner insists this is all about strengthening democracy, many aren't buying it. The backlash has been immediate, explosive, and completely justified. Let's break it down. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Under Labour's new proposal, everyone aged 16 and over will be able to vote in the next general election. This isn't just a vague idea. It's a formal pledge wrapped up in the usual buzzwords about modernising democracy and engagement. Deputy PM Angela Rayner says the goal is to break down barriers to participation and strengthen our democracy for the future. But here's the real kicker. This plan won't allow 16 and 17-year-olds to stand for office, just to vote. In other words, you're old enough to decide who governs the UK, but not old enough to run for a council seat. Make it make sense. Labour also wants to roll out a voter authority certificate to meet the so-called digital needs of voters. Translation, more bureaucracy, more red tape, and possibly a new digital ID style system slipping through the back door. Unsurprisingly, the Tories are calling this what it looks like, a political stunt. One senior Conservative MP said it's nothing more than votes for children for a child's play government. Ouch. And Nigel Farage, leader of Reform UK, went even further, saying it outright, it's an attempt to rig the political system. He's not wrong, think about it. Labour is tanking in trust among working class adults. Reform is surging. So what's the play? Change the electorate, expand it to a new, younger group, one more likely to vote Labour, and hope that offsets the adult backlash. But Farage had a warning too. We intend to give them a nasty surprise. Translation, the British public aren't as gullible as Labour thinks. Shockingly, even many teenagers don't want this. A Merlin Strategy poll of 516 and 17-year-olds found that 49% of them think the voting age should not be lowered. Let that sink in. Nearly half of the very group this law targets thinks it's a bad idea. But here's where it gets interesting. 33% said they'd vote Labour, 20% picked Reform UK, 18% favoured the Green Party, 12% backed the Liberal Democrats, and just 10% would vote Conservative. That's why Labour's pushing this. Not for democracy, for power. The numbers make it crystal clear. This is about reshaping the electorate to suit the party's long-term strategy. And of course, the Green Party couldn't resist jumping on board, not just supporting the move, but demanding even more radical changes. MP Ellie Chowns praised Labour for finally acting on the youth vote, but said it should only be the beginning. She's now calling for the abolition of the House of Lords and full proportional representation, so every vote counts equally. That's right, they don't just want 16-year-olds voting, they want a complete overhaul of how government works. This isn't about inclusion, it's about rewriting the rules to benefit progressive parties. So where does that leave us? A government that claims to modernise democracy while sneaking in the most partisan electoral shift in decades. A voting age change that even teenagers themselves are deeply divided over. And a public that's starting to realise Labour's plan for change might really just be a plan to stay in power. This is not about giving a voice to the voiceless, it's about stacking the deck. And if the public don't push back, don't be surprised when this becomes the new normal. Politics by manipulation, not merit. Because when a party knows it's losing adults, it turns to kids. In other news, Andrew Griffiths has offered his staunch defence of a British schoolgirl who was removed from school for wearing a Union Jack dress on Cultural Diversity Day, declaring she deserves a gold star. Speaking to the media, the Shadow Business Secretary hit out at tin pot dictators in Britain's education system, accusing them of denigrating British pride. Courtney Wright, 12, was sent home from Bilton School after choosing to wear a Union Jack dress and hat to celebrate Britain's history, also penning a speech on British culture. The speech paid tribute to kings and queens, castles and Shakespeare, and mentioned Britain's modern, diverse, and always changing culture. Taking to social media following the incident, Wright's father revealed the school had told his daughter that the Cultural Diversity Day was not for her. Delivering his verdict, Griffith stated, "If someone turns up in patriotic clothes to the school, they should get a gold star rather than be penalized." Hitting out at this country's educators and local governments, Griffith criticized tin pot dictators for allowing such decisions which denigrate British pride. Griffith said, "It's not the job of teachers, education authorities, local government tin pot dictators to do anything that denigrates pride in our country. We seem to have lost sight of that somewhere along the way, and without knowing the full details of this individual case, people should absolutely be able to fly our national flag, celebrate our national colours, and celebrate the wonderful British history." Asked by hosts Eamon Holmes and Nana Akua about Chancellor Rachel Reeves's upcoming Mansion House speech, Griffith hoped that Reeves will rule out any more tax rises. Griffith told the media, "We can't have another summer of uncertainty that's holding businesses back. I hope she reverses her attack on international wealth creators that's seeing so many hundreds of good taxpayers leaving this country, meaning everybody who is left behind has to pay a higher price. We can't afford for the economy to slow down anymore. We know that there's no money, and yet every day the government is coming forward with more different ways of spending taxpayers' money. It's got to stop. We've got to balance the books, and she really needs to focus on those things. That's probably not what we'll get, if I'm honest, but that's what the Chancellor should be saying tonight." A spokesman for Stowe Valley Trust, which runs the secondary school, told Warwickshire World, "At Bilton School, we are proud of the diversity of our students and the rich heritage they bring to our community. We are committed to fostering an environment where every pupil feels respected, valued, and included." On Friday, July 11th, an incident occurred during our Culture Celebration Day that caused considerable upset to one of our pupils, her family, and members of the wider community. We deeply regret the distress this has caused and offer our sincere and unreserved apologies. We have since spoken directly with the pupil and her family to listen to their concerns and reflect on how this could have been handled better. The incident has sparked a wider debate about national pride, cultural inclusion, and the role of schools in navigating both. While Andrew Griffith's intervention highlights growing frustration among some over what they see as a marginalisation of British identity, the response from the school trust signals a recognition that mistakes were made and a willingness to reflect. As tensions flare over how best to celebrate diversity in modern Britain, this case has become a flashpoint in the ongoing conversation about identity, inclusion, and the limits of expression in the classroom. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.